Happy Halloween. I wish you all an amazing weekend, especially those with children in your lives. I hope it goes amazing. Just like this episode will, it is our first Rewind the Clock episode of the second half of the season, and our third guest ever is rejoining the show. I am excited to share his recent success and growth as I have been witnessing it on LinkedIn. He is the founder, CEO, and lunch break enforcer at Lunchpool. Our guest is recording from Tennessee and has a passion for bringing people together and helping them grow. These two passions will undoubtedly offer great tips throughout the entire episode. He has also been a major player in the Tampa communities for years, as well as his communities in Tennessee and across the country. Get prepared for some game-changing advice and firsthand testimonials. Before I bring him on, let's learn how he podcasts. Alex, which platform do you stream your shows through?
So when I podcast, I really try to approach things differently in everything I do. I'm kind of a weirdo, but I use StreamYard, and I'll stream the video because I like video casting, and I'll send it into from StreamYard to Facebook, LinkedIn. I've been approved to do that on LinkedIn, even though it's not that effective, I don't think. And then YouTube, Twitch sometimes. It's just, I'm not the most organized podcaster, I'll say. But if I can reach a couple of people, then that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. When in the day do you find yourself listening?
So if I'm consuming podcast content, I will I guess my go-to to listen, sorry, I misunderstood the question. Because I sometimes do these lunch break lives, but to go back to your original question, I use Spotify. Like I used to use Apple, like the default one. But Spotify has been really, really good to consume the content, and it's, again, not organized. I don't have like some people that are like, I wake up at 6 a.m. I go listen to my podcast, I work out. No, it's chaos. I have a 3-year-old daughter and turning 4 soon. And, I wake up when she wakes up, and then chaos ensues. So later in the day, usually when I take a shower, I'll try to put on the podcast. It used to be on my commute, but we don't have that luxury anymore. So
yeah, absolutely. We were just talking about COVID. He's in Tennessee. They're taking over the one spot from Florida as far as cases ago, he shared. So we do not have the same luxuries as we once did, our normal routines to really slide in that podcast.
Yeah, exactly. It's not only disrupted everything else, but also our podcast listening habits.
Well said. And with that, I want to welcome you, the listeners, back to another episode of That Entrepreneur Show. I am your host, Vincent A. Lanci. If it's your first time with us, each episode I sit down with a new founder of a company to help you on your journey. You never know which motivational journey will inspire you most as they share their successes, lessons learned, and what can help you most. It is time for another bonus episode where we rewind the clock, and I am bringing back entrepreneurs who have focused on growing to give you more firsthand experience. And today, as I mentioned, is one of those original members. He is a serial entrepreneur, social innovator, and technology enthusiast. In 2018, he founded Lunchpool to dream up new ways to connect people who want to share their time and resources with others. He's streaming from Knoxville, Tennessee, and has the pleasure of serving a growing team distributed across the country. He has dedicated his sole focus to utilizing empathy-building technologies to end feelings of loneliness, social isolation, and depression brought on by our use of modern digital platforms. And his team over at Lunchpool has created meaningful connections between thousands of people all over the world through virtual experiences that are designed to bring back some humanity into the increasingly digital age. Let me bring him on, Mr. Alex Abell. Alex, thanks for taking the time to come back on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been quite a while since we last connected, and glad to see how many podcast episodes that you've done since then. It's quite a feat.
Thank you for the kind words. It's been great to connect with people just like you, like-minded folks all over the globe. But to start this show, please reintroduce yourself to our audience, especially if they may have missed your first show.
Definitely. So, well, after that warm, beautiful introduction, I don't know what else I can say, but I know you have a big listenership all over the world, but especially in Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Tampa was really where I got my roots as an entrepreneur. I had tried some stuff out in college, you know, had a lot of fun, but it was funtrpreneurship, if anything, entrepreneurship. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. Crashed and burned. Now I'm finally comfortable sharing that story because there was bankruptcy involved. There was dark days, but I recovered in the corporate America rehab program. I went into the corporate route, worked my way up to a six-figure job in leadership, and then quit, as many crazy entrepreneurs do, to start a company that I feel so passionately about. And Lunchpool is the company, and we really do nothing else but connect people. Like we find technologies that are that have a lot of promise around the world, and we figure out how to use them to connect people better, faster, more effectively. So that's what I've been up to since since 2018, really just building this company, and riding the wave, trying to help a lot of people during COVID and growing my team.
I think it is helping an enormous amount of people during COVID because of our lack of ability to get out in public. In certain states like Florida, we are out and about a little more than others, but a lot of states and even countries for that matter, they're on a lockdown. So you're doing a great service. You retouched up everybody on what Lunchpool is. Let's talk about some things that are new.
Yeah. Well, I would say one of the newest things is that at the beginning, of Lunchpool, when I started this, because a lot of people ask about the name, but it's like a carpool back and forth to lunch. Like you want to build those connections, like you would have going back and forth to work every day with the same group of people. But you also want to be able to expand your lunch pool. So not just, have those regulars lunch buddies, but to be able to connect with people that you may not even know exist within your company, within your community, anywhere in the world. And what's new is that we did a 360 after we last spoke. The world wasn't there was no global pandemic, and our whole goal was to poor choice I can't talk poor choice of wording, but our go to market phrase was, we are ending the desktop dining epidemic. And we did not know that there was going to be an actual epidemic, and that desktop dining was going to be all the rage, even more so than it was. So we did that 360, and we had done a virtual event in January for marketing purposes. And I was talking to some people, and I was like, nonprofits are going to get hit real hard by this, and I think I can help them by throwing those virtual events. We had actually gotten contacted by an organization looking to do something like that, and I was like, we can make this a service. And it was awesome. It felt really good, even though between March and May of 2020, I lost 30 pounds, and I'm a skinny guy already, but I didn't eat lunch. I wasn't practicing what I preach because we had so many people to help.
It's a testament to keep grinding, and things will continue to work in your favor. It's great to see it evolve. I remember I actually was a guest on one of his. He does lunch break lives on on LinkedIn. Excuse me. He mentioned that was a lot of fun. Just to connect people all around is a great service, especially in the age we're moving to. But Alex, we touched on COVID a little. Did COVID affect your business positively or negatively? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time when I wasn't sure even how to describe the answer to that question, because COVID, as right before COVID happened, my wife, who's in academia, she was scheduled to go to a conference in California, and COVID was already taking over China. We knew it was a matter of time before it came over here, and they were considering closing down California. And so she's like, I don't know if I should go, maybe blah blah blah. And it was I could sense that the world was about to change. I think everybody could. And so, having that pivot from trying to get people in offices to go to lunch together and show the benefits of that for them and the company, which was really, really hard. Like I was
Yeah,
like, guys, this is good for you. You'll do better work. You'll feel better. But sometimes, as humans, we're not our own best stewards. But
that's
but yeah,
true.
the pandemic though, because we shifted, because we were able to help people that were going to organize in-person events and had the budgets for those,
Yep.
we helped them go virtual and still like my goal was not to ever hear somebody say, guys, I'm sorry that we have to go virtual, but I wanted them to be like, guys, like, yes, we have to go virtual and look at this amazing experience that we've put together for you. So, and it worked, like we were able to grow revenues tremendously and doubling each month throughout the pandemic. And I was able to grow my team. I have 13 full-time staff members now, and
Congrats.
and about 26 people work for Lunchpool with contractors and freelancers and things that we work with. So just the reason I said it was hard to figure out the answer to that question originally was because everybody or a lot of people are struggling, and I didn't want to be like, well, the global
Right.
pandemic actually helped me out because that's not the case.
Right.
It did give me an opportunity to really think through what is the value, what can I do, what are my unique gifts, and how can I help people through this. And because of that, we've been very successful.
There's always an opportunity. It just may not be silver lining or right in front of you. Thank you for shedding that example. And we must
Yeah.
have spoken right before the pandemic, maybe a month or two before the pandemic started, because there was no such thing as not no such thing as pandemic, but in our lifetimes, really seeing something to this magnitude. And you did pivot to virtual events, but I don't think they're going to go away. Virtual events. I think even with no COVID, there'll still be a hybrid. Companies are going to want to try to mix and match due to what everything we just went through. Employees they're finding are probably some of them are more productive at home. Some of them are more productive in the office. They'll probably be open to continue trying new things. But
Yeah.
let's now think of a way to help our listeners even more. Alex, what's the best piece of advice you can offer them as one that you were given in the past?
Oh man, that's a good question. So, well, to your point just now, the world is continually changing, continuously, whatever the right word is there. The world is undergoing change, and it will forever undergo change. It always has. Change is the only constant. But with everything going on, with technology's rate of increase, with just how fast the world works these days, it's going to change faster and faster. Like think about the technologies that we've all embraced over the last, 2 or 3 years. I look back to the time when I would sit by my phone and wait for my, fifth grade girlfriend to call our house phone. Cell phones didn't exist.
Yep.
If you were going to go somewhere, you'd have to let your people know when you were going to be back.
Ride the bicycle and
Um,
show up to the house.
exactly. Now I'm not old enough to where I can say, I had to go up hills both ways to go to
Yeah.
school, but the world changes, and so as an entrepreneur, as if you consider yourself, a business person, an innovator, or even an entrepreneur, if you're in a company and you want to be an entrepreneur, you have to adapt to that change. So we pivoted to virtual events. I'm considering another pivot right now. I haven't, I don't even know if my team knows that, but we, I love what we've been able to do with the virtual events. And, I always want people to go face to face in person because I feel like there's nothing like that
Nothing like it.
connection.
I
Like
agree with you so
this is,
much.
yeah, this is great, right? Being able to interface on Zoom, um, whether, everybody has the Zoomies, we call it Zoom fatigue, but, the platforms that we use are a little bit less restrictive. Like right now we're stuck. If you are on Zoom, daily, you feel stuck. You're in a box talking to someone else. But the platforms we use allow you to kind of break out of that. You can move around freely in large groups. You can form small teams or small discussions. But the pivot there was what was essential. We went to, I looked at what I was doing. I said, in-person gatherings, not an option. What do I do now? We pivoted to virtual events. Now everybody, even me, when I hear the word virtual, I'm like, oh God, like, and that's what I do for a living. That's what my company does. So, rebranding that is part of it. So, we're starting to play around with like dimensional experiences. A lot of people are going to the hybrid events terminology. I don't like that because I don't like cliche, and if everybody's doing it, I feel like we can do it better and different.
That's
But
right.
it is about dimension, right? There is more technology coming out, like virtual reality, augmented reality. It's right around the corner, and so pretty soon these digital experiences are going to augment the real world. We're going to actually have hybrid, and hybrid's not going to be a stream of an in-person event that some people will watch online and some people will actually go to. It's going to be a blend of those experiences where I'm looking at my phone and seeing somebody in front of me in augmented reality, or through my HoloLens, or whatever
Craziness.
it turns out to be. So really long-winded answer to say, be open to change. Like,
I
it's
appreciate it.
change is going to come, and you have to pivot on a dime. Don't get caught up on your original vision, because sometimes it's wrong, and sometimes it just gets market forces make it not even feasible anymore.
I appreciate the thorough answer. That's what I can only hope out of the guests I bring on, giving so much back to our listeners. And with that great advice, we're going to follow up with one more piece where I ask you if you can recommend any book, workshop, or tool to our community of entrepreneurs. What would you choose?
Any book, man, that's a tough question because I love to read. I have to look at my bookshelf here. Well, I'll give you two answers.
Let's get it. Yeah.
I'll say one, as an entrepreneur, reading can become addictive. So don't don't, or in anything, don't just read self-help books, but actually process them.
Yes.
And so my first answer is go read some fiction, because fiction will inspire you. My go-to is The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. I love that book. It's inspiring as an entrepreneur, because The Hitchhiker's Guide is a fictional book within this book, and it's a document that it's basically Wikipedia. It goes over all the knowledge in the known universe, in the galaxy at least. And it was a failed business at first. Like, a guy had the idea, he came out with it, he ended up having to sell it, sold it to a corporation. The editor at the corporation was lazy and said, "Hey, I don't want to write this whole thing." And so he had lunch breaks, funnily enough, where
Yeah.
people would come in and volunteer. It was like lunch break editing. But yeah, just read some fiction, whatever it may be. And then as far as like entrepreneur books, I I can't recommend enough this book. I think it's Ryan Fitz. Ryan, I think it's Ryan Fitz. It's called The Mom Test. MOM, like your mama.
The mom
Have you read
test?
that?
No, I have not.
Oh, go read it. It's the basic premise. I don't want to spoil it. It's a short read. It's an easy read. But the premise is that you have to ask questions in the right way. You not only have to ask the right questions, but in any business, you need to validate your market. You need to say, "Hey, I got this idea. Do people want it?" My original idea, people need it. People need to get away from their desk, but people weren't trying to solve that problem or even aware that they had a problem.
Okay.
And so, if I would have validated better, people would have, the answers that people told me would have
Yep.
answered that. So, it's a funny story about why it's called the mom test. I'm not going to go into too much, but basically he comes up with an app idea to help his mom cook better. And she's like, "Oh yeah,
Interesting.
I would totally use that." And she doesn't. And that's the mom test. Your mama's going to tell you what you want to hear. And so will other people. So you gotta put it to the mom test.
Well, man, I gotta say, amazing book recommendations and the reasoning behind it. Gotta thank you so much, Alex, for coming back from episode 3, from giving the courage to leave your 6-figure position if you are truly passionate enough about what you're going for. The commitment to that passion, 2008 and grinding up to double-digit employees. You pivoted with COVID, and then you actually found success from that pivot. And you even touched on rebranding at the end. Thank you. I would now
Thank you.
like to ask you for your last word.
Keep your head up. It's entrepreneurship is hard. Life is hard right now, but keep your head up, because it's all about perspective. You only have so much time on the earth. You might as well enjoy it.
Well said. And with that, can I ask you to show love to another entrepreneur out there? You've already done the spotlight story with me as you've been on the show once. I would now like just to ask you for a quick moment to give someone some love, some marketing attention.
Oh yeah. I got to give it to my partner, our business partner. We've been on this journey with a company called Remo. They are the platform that we primarily use. We use a lot of different platforms, but Ho Yin Chung from Remo, I've seen him grow Remo from just a handful of customers like me, crazy people, to now he's 100 people, probably 100 plus people now.
Amazing.
So definitely a great guy to read about.
We'll be sure to tag him when this episode comes out. Can you now tell everybody how to find you?
I am on LinkedIn. I'm all over the place. LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever. Just look up Alexander or Alex Abell, Abell, and you'll find me on the various social or Knoxville. Come up to Knoxville. We'll grab lunch.
And how can they find Lunchpool?
Just lunchpool.io, pretty easy, or letslunchpool.com. And yeah, you'll see it. We got a new website coming out, so
nice.
Definitely keep an eye out.
Well, congrats on all your success. Thank you for coming on. And everyone, be sure to check out all of his content and check out all that Lunchpool has to offer. We are at That Entrepreneur Show on all platforms, except for Twitter. We're at Podcasts by Lanci. So you have updates from all of the shows. My handles are at Vincent A. Lanci for all social media and YouTube. And the website is vincentalanci.com. If you check out my books, be sure to let me know. Mental Health Week is our latest release, and it is time for the quote to end the show. This one is a Chinese proverb. The person who says it cannot be done should not interpret the person who is doing it. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week on That Entrepreneur Show.